Welcome to the Mike Litton Experience Podcast. Mike has over 31 years experience in real estate, finance, and investing. He's passionate about being a father, a teacher, a realtor, an investor, and a leader. Everyone has a story, and our passion is to help them tell it. And now, introducing the host of the Mike Litton Experience, Mike Litton.
So what can you expect from the Mike Litton Experience? You can expect stories that will inspire, motivate, advice that will sharpen your focus, and expert information on real estate, finance, and market conditions. Igor Noble, thank you so much for being our guest on the Mike Litton Experience. I'm super excited for our time together. Like we talked about before we hit record, everybody has a story, and our passion is to help them tell it. So with your permission, we're going to start with where you were born and go all the way up to today. And then we want to talk about what you're doing with your mortgage company, Fast Track Mortgage, that kind of thing, and talk about some of the things that you're doing to help people buy homes, right? Qualify and buy. I saw something that you did on 1099 self-employed income on LinkedIn, and it was really, really cool. So I want to get into that as we talk. So thanks again for being here.
Mike, look, it's my honor to be here, and I really believe me a lot, my heart is pumping because I'm so excited to be on your podcast, and I really, really thank you from my heart, from the bottom of my Russian heart, okay? Russian-American heart.
There you go. There you go. All right. So where were you born?
Well, actually, I was born in Moscow, in Russia, and
Okay.
actually today I'm, 50, 56, 57, almost 56 years old. It's crazy. Time flies.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was born in Moscow, and then I was an attorney, actually. I practiced law, and before that, I worked for the Supreme Court of Russia.
So
I was a chief consultant over there.
Did you grow up in Moscow?
Yeah. I grew up in Moscow. It was actually, a suburb, maybe I would say 20 minutes drive from Moscow.
Okay.
So it's like New York City and Long Island, it's some time to drive. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So that was awesome time. We'll laugh, beat the kids. So that time was good.
What was your favorite thing about growing up there?
I love because I love the tradition, when you have all your parents there, your family, you feel this warm support. And I'm kind of like homie guy, even right now, look, I've been married for the past 33 years, that my first marriage. I have 3 kids. My wife is beautiful, is smart. So, and I guess it came from my parents because they always lived for many, many years. I believe they're already almost 50 years together. I still have my father and mother, and I think I'm blessed.
Yeah.
So
did you go to high school, like the Russian version of high school?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So you go to high school. So basically we have 10 years, right? 10 years of school.
Right.
And then after that, I served in the army. So I served 2 years in the Russian army at that time. And then after that, I worked for the Supreme Court of Russia. So basically I started this funny story because, I started at the Supreme Court of Russia, and I was archive clerk.
Mhm.
So in the Supreme Court of Russia, you have downstairs, maybe 7 floors under the ground.
Yeah.
So I was on the lowest. That's how I started, because who I was at that time, so I came over there like a small mouse, and they tell me, you got to do this. So that's what I did. So a small, tiny job, government salary, which is, tiny
Mhm.
money. And then it's funny story because that's why I met my wife. That's
Mhm.
why I met my wife. So my wife that, really helped me all the way along. And I love her it's my dearest friend, and if you have time, I can tell you a quick story how I met her and how she decided to get married to me.
Of
You want to
course.
hear that story?
Of course. I'd love to hear it.
Okay, so she was much, much higher in the position than I am, right? So I told her that I was little mouse, walking 7 floors under the ground,
Mhm.
and she was a right hand. So she was an attorney, right hand for the Supreme Court of Judge. So that's the highest,
Wow.
highest judge, right?
Yeah.
And then he was running over there, and then she came to my my hall, under the 7th floor. And she's like, "Oh, Igor, I'm not sure." Yeah, exactly,
Right.
over there. And she came like, "I don't know, like what to do." I said, "What happened, Irina?" And she said, "I just broke my heel." And she said, "How can I go to the Supreme Court of Judge, like judge of the Supreme Court, with my heel broken? What should I do?" So look, little mouse is smart mouse, yo. I said, "You know what? Give me 5-10 minutes. I'm gonna fix it."
Yeah.
So I fixed, and before she was coming to my like archive, room. Obviously, we didn't pay attention because she was up there in the sky. I was like little one, so she maybe thought, "Who is that guy?" Like somewhere like all dusty airs, all the stuff. And then when I fixed her heels, and then she was very happy. So I used my hand, my head, and then I fixed it. And then she was so happy, and that's how our relationship developed.
Wow.
And then she said, "You know what, like 7 months, maybe 9 months later, she said, this is the guy that I may be happy with."
Wow.
And then we kissed for the first time. Yeah. And then she said, "You know what, this guy has a very good kiss. Let me stick with him."
There you go.
And that kiss, yeah, there you go. You see, that's how it goes, right?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, because everybody's asking, how the hell you can pick up that girl? I said, look, that's just I was very happy and lucky, that she broke that heel on that particular moment, and she came to me, to my small room, to the dusty guy, and asked me for help, and I helped her.
So when does the book come out on shoe repair and kissing? When does that come out?
That probably came. The shoe repair was one thing, and then 7 months later was the kissing part.
Right, repair her shoe, get the girl. I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. What a great story.
Yeah, because I don't think that a lot of people have the same story. I mean, we all have like different stories and say, hey, how we met and all these things, but this is like something special. That's good.
No, I totally agree. That's a great story. Thank you for sharing that. So in high school, did you have a favorite subject?
Yes, in high school, I like history. So my favorite subject was history, and I was I love physical, I love like gym. So I believe it was my two favorite subjects, history and gym, because I was actually in my whole region, I was number one. I did like 29 pull-ups at that time.
Wow.
129, yeah. And say, hey, why you cannot do like even 30? I said, you know what? For some reason, no. 29 was my record. So, and then I did a cross-country skiing, right? So I was like one of the best in cross country, so skiing. So yeah, I had some interest, but mostly sports. I didn't do any smoking, drugs. I just didn't have time. Plus, I have a degree in concert piano, Mike.
Really?
I used to play concert piano on stages. Yeah, and I'm believe it or not, I was a lead singer in my choir.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it.
You see how many good stories about
I love
right
it,
now?
man. That's awesome. You're like
so
a Renaissance
I didn't have time
man,
for
right?
Yeah, exactly. So I have for anything outside life. I was playing piano professionally. I get this concert degree in piano. Then I was singing, and then at the same time I was in karate. I had a round belt in Shotokan in karate. So my youth, my teens was so busy I couldn't breathe.
Yeah, I got you. That's
Plus,
awesome.
remember,
Man.
our life, my life is quite different. I believe maybe than your life or maybe some listeners. But how we left, in America, you have everything. You have gas, water, right? Like all you say in house. When I was a kid, we didn't have anything in my house.
Yeah.
In Russia, imagine it's like 7, maybe 0 degrees Fahrenheit, and you go outside. You gotta go maybe I don't know, 100 yards for the restroom. And it's crazy. So we didn't have anything. So basically, when I come to school, I gotta prepare all these wooden things to put this in a fire, right? Then I was going to pick up the water for my parents because they didn't have water in the house. So I have 2 buckets, and I was walking literally maybe 5-7 minutes to get the water in my buckets, bring the bag to make sure that we are gonna have water for this evening. So that's how we lived. So I wasn't spoiled boy. I did whatever I could to survive, and then thanks God that I'm here and I'm talking to you. And again, thank you very much. I really
So let me ask you this. Growing up, who was the most influential person to you?
I think my father,
Yeah.
because my father, he was very successful in business. He was initially he was in restaurant business.
Mm-hmm.
And I think without his support, because I saw through which hurdles he was coming through, because restaurant business, even in the United States, it's very difficult business. A lot of like restaurant business are failing because of like one or the other reason. So he started that business. I saw how successful he was, and plus he helped me, to be the person who I am. Because I remember when I was a kid, I picked up on the street like 25 cents, for example, right? 25 cents. And I brought it home, and he told me, "Where do you get this?" And I said, "Oh, it was like on that street." He told me, "No, I mean, that coin is not your coin. It belongs to somebody else. So put it back and never take it. Whatever don't belong to you, it doesn't belong to you. You
Right.
gotta make sure that you earn this money. Then it's going to be yours." So that was my thing. So I learned this a lot actually. From him. Never steal. Always be honest. And that's what I think separates me from other people as well, because even like for the dollar, if I'm dealing like with my clients in my mortgage company, if I promise my clients that their closing cost is going to be $10,000, it must be $10,000. If I told them, "Hey, your rate is going to be 6.5%," no matter what, it must be 6.5%.
Right.
Because it's not my thing that I can, increase a little bit, do a little bit. It's not me. I would rather make less, but be honest.
Yeah.
And have excellent reputation. This is why we have like over like what is it, 500-600 followers like in my Instagram. If you look right now, it's like what is it, $50,000-$60,000 people who following us.
Yeah.
So I think that's very important.
Yeah. No, it really is. And it's a lesson that people need to understand. They need to, it was something important that you learned growing up, and you're continuing to, right? You're continuing to teach that too. So that's a big deal. Living by example is a big thing. So, so after high school, you decide to join the military. Now, did you decide to volunteer for the military, or did they make you do that?
No. At that time in Russia, there is no such thing as I decide. Like from age of 18, you must go and serve.
Gotcha.
So I didn't have choice. So
what did you do for the military?
Well, for the military, I was in the anti-missile unit.
Okay.
So anti-missile. So basically, like I was in the Aura division. So I was driving huge, big trucks. And that was my role.
Gotcha. Okay. So you did that for 2 years, and then you leave.
For 2 years,
you leave the military, and you decide to go to work for the Supreme Court of Russia. Talk about the decision to do that. What made you do that? And what was it like working in the hole, as you affectionately called it, which is also a shoe repair business, apparently, right? And a kissing instruction seminar, right?
Right. So actually, like after I finished my high school, I got accepted in the Supreme Court of Russia. Right before I was enrolled in the military. Then after 1 year working in the hall, then I went to 2 years to serve. Right, and then when I because I at the same time, like I was studying law because I was in law school.
Okay.
So after I came back from the military, I continue in the law school.
So you put everything on break. You had to put everything on pause, basically.
Yeah.
Go. Okay, I got you.
Yeah,
okay, that's fine.
Yeah, and then after I came back, then I came back to the same job, and then I continue my law school, and then the Supreme Court of Russia was very good because it's first of all it's the highest Supreme Court of the country. Even though like I was as an archive, I still was very, very happy because you meet people, you meet judges, you meet like some people that you're never going to meet. And then who comes to the highest court? Sometimes it was very influential people. Right. So I learned and I met a lot of people who I would never meet, maybe just on the TV, but you go there and you meet the people. So for me, it was like very great experience. And then after the Supreme Court, like because like people knew me, like if you walk over there, I grew actually from the archive clerk. I was the chief consultant in the for the judge. So I had like very good career in the Supreme Court as well. And after that, I was chief department for one of the banks. Like it was a very big bank in Russia at that time. And then I was the chief. Basically, I led the legal department for the bank.
Okay.
So that was because if you work, I guess, in this institution like a Supreme Court of Russia, like people have a lot of respect for you.
Yeah.
And then a lot of doors are open. Same is over here, right? If you starting like in the organization that even though you are a small person and you prove yourself that you're worthy, right? That you can do the job, like people will see you, like on your resume, they're going to see, hey, this is a smart guy. He's very hardworking. He's a grinder. I'm going to get him to my job, and he's going to be very successful.
Yeah.
So people saw me, and then I worked for the bank, and then I opened after the bank, because again the money was very, very little. It was like very small money we were making, and it was almost impossible to make the money at that time working in the Supreme Court. Plus, again, after the shoe accident, I gotta think about how I will now support my wife, not only kids, but also like bring something to the closing to the table, right?
Right.
So I gotta think about it.
Yeah, it's not just kissing, just so we're clear, right?
Yeah, it's just not exactly, because look, you can have a good kiss, but then how long that kiss is going to last if you will not be able to provide to your family,
right? And it ends up producing kids, right? Which ends up producing more need for income. Yeah, come on now, right?
Exactly.
Welcome to life.
What I did, like so what I also did, like it's funny thing, because in order to survive, because we need to generate some money, right? So or like Saturday and Sundays, like me and my wife, already at that time wife, so we were selling mink coats on the flea markets. So like normally like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. you get up, even though it's like a very, very cold, you go in the car and you drive like 3-4 hours, and then you sell stuff on the free market, and then Monday morning you're back to the Supreme Court.
Wow.
So I kind of like did like a small little income, and then bigger income over the weekends as a entrepreneur, right? As a business person. And that's actually how I started. That's how I'm thinking right now, right? That's how I started my business line, right? My mind, like business person thinking. I say, hey, if I'm going to sell this, I'm going to make like $200. Oh, that's great. If I'm going to sell 5 of them, I'm going to make $1,000. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So this is why, like I said, okay, I started doing my math, and then I started like making money. And I say, you know what? I'm very good at that. Let me open my real estate company. And then I opened my real estate company. And again, that was like end of 80s, beginning of 90s, like 1990, something like that. And then I opened my real estate company. And believe it or not, like for 2 years, my company was number one in the region. Number one in the region. So I was like very successful. Yeah, I was very successful. And one part of that, because at that time was like mafia was like all over the place. Like all business people, they were paying mafia. Every month they were coming to the office. You pay them money, they leave. Next month, like a clock, you must pay them.
Yeah.
Like, and then what also they did, they like if a person would like to sell the property, or maybe elder person, sometimes they were killing these people, or maybe sometimes they were taking people like from Moscow, and they were relocating them. Like in Moscow, for example, at that time, maybe, right? So for example, the apartment cost like $50,000, right?
Right.
And then if they take the same person, like elder person, and they put it like 100 miles from Moscow, that same apartment is going to probably cost, I don't know, maybe like $2,000 instead of 50, right?
Big difference.
So huge spread, right? Big difference. And then people were very scared. They were like selling right or left, even though they didn't want to sell, but they forced them. The mafia was forcing them to sell. So a lot of people were scared to go into real estate business, because it was a lot of crooks, a lot of criminals. So when I opened my company, I was always like in a suit with the tie, and all my employees, like no chain, no nothing, no guns. and then all my employees was exactly the same. So I guess I was a good leader for them. And then people saw this. They say, hey, this guy is like, I think they're honest. They don't kill, they don't steal, they do the right thing, they make their commission, everybody's happy. So my business grew like exponentially, huge. And then that's how like I made my money in Moscow.
So at some
real
point,
estate.
you had shared with me before we hit record that at some point you were in your garage and you were attacked. Tell us about that, because it sounds like that was sort of the breaking point and made you make the decision to come to the US.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So that actually, that's a little crazy story, but I think that some people may relate to this. So one morning, I was, again, it was like all 90s, and then mafia was killing people, like business people, just for if you're not going to pay like $5,000 to $2,000, they're going to kill you. Okay, so that's how like at that time was. And then I was going to pick up my car from the garage. It was maybe like I would say 10 minutes walk from the house where I lived, right? And then my wife, we already had our first son, and then she was standing at waiting for me to pick her up to drop my her and my youngest son to the kindergarten, right? So they were standing on the bus station waiting for me. I went to this garage, and then I hear like all these crazy noises, like go down, and I see the guns and like this special uniform. So I thought maybe it's like at that time was militia. Now it's police, right? So I thought maybe maybe some special forces, that because they will look like in camouflage with the guns and everything. And obviously they put me down, and then I realized when they put a gun to my head, they say, hey, you got to give us everything, whatever you have. I said, what are you talking about? And then I realized it's not like police. It's like actual mafia who was trying to get on my head for so many years. And then since I work at the Supreme Court of Russia, his office had like very good connections. So people respected me, right? And then, and I told you that I work also as I led the legal department in the bank.
Right.
So I helped a lot of these organizations, even though they were like sound like part criminal, to get some loans and everything, right? So I helped a lot of people to grow their business. So I was very respected in the community.
Yeah.
And for me, when I was attacked, I said, no, that cannot be mafia. Probably like one of maybe police, maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
And then one day they put me in Scotch. So they put me in a garage. And then it was winter time. It was very cold. And then they put me in a Scotch, like I was all in Scotch tape. They put me this plug in the mouth, and they put a gun over there. And they say, hey, you got to give us everything, whatever you have. I said, the only thing I have is a ring right now. Then maybe you can take my watch. Like this is the keys from the car. So they will start looking for money in my garage because some people keep money in there. So then I got a couple of kicks in my ribs, in my head. And then they realized that there is no money over this. But in my mind, at that time, when you have a gun at your head and you say, oh my God, what's going to happen to my wife and to my son who is waiting? Because before, like a month ago, before that happened, there was also accident when they kidnapped the person, like one of my friend's son. So they ransomed, like I believe it was $100,000 or something at that time. So they paid the money, but eventually a month later they still killed that business person. So, and I was like, I'm laying down like on the snow, and then said, oh my God, like they're gonna like hurt my wife, hurt my kid, and I was so scared. And then they left me in the garage. They closed the door, and they took up my car and they left. And normally, like I'm kind of the guy, like I'm always happy. Like like if you see me, like my license plate on my car, you said I happy.
Okay.
Like my boat, it said pursuit of happiness.
Yeah.
My company slogan is said happy people. It's all about happiness. I'm always happy. So, and I was, I guess, like 30, 40, like 50 years ago, I always was very, very happy guy. So when that car passing that the guy where the guy was sitting, who was opening the how they call
the parking attendant,
right, for the garage.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Market then. He saw that it wasn't me because I always stop. I always, hey, Mike, how are you doing? Right? How's your family? How's your kids? And they would just rush through this. And then there was not Igor. So they rushed to the garage. They saw me like laying down. They actually opened the garage because the door was closed. And then I was in the handcuffs, they put the handcuffs behind my back. And then they brought me to they obviously cut the Scott tape. They took the plug out of my mouth. And then they brought me to my parents. And then we were able to open the handcuffs. Like all my hands, like was like blue hands because they put it like so tight that there was no blood coming to my fingers.
Right.
Yeah, it was very, very scary. And then at that time, since again, I know that the life where like business people were living, were like killing like right a lot. So I would say, oh my God, it's only like 1 second. Somebody's gonna do like this, and you're gone.
Well, their finger might
like
slip on the trigger and kill you by accident, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then at that time, like all my life, said, oh my God, like what did I did good? Maybe I did something like. And I said, how's my kids? Like how's my wife is going to be right now? Like all the things like were coming into my head, and it was like very scary moment. But then thanks God, they didn't kill me. And I'm here with you. I'm very happy.
So you made the decision.
Like when they brought me to my parents, hold on. So when they brought me to my parents, my because I'm the only son. I'm the only son. And then actually my mother told me, she said, Igor, she said, you're the only son that we have. You gotta close your business or do whatever you want with the business. We don't want to lose our son. We're all crying, sitting, we're all scared, shaking.
We hope you enjoyed another episode of the Mike Litton Experience. If you did, do us a favor, smash that subscribe button, tell your friends, family, and coworkers about our program, and wherever you get your podcasts, please leave us a rating. It helps us to connect with quality people just like you.
And that's a wrap. Another episode of the Mike Litton Experience in the books. Reach out to Mike on Instagram at Litton Realty. Want to meet with Mike? Check out calendly.com/Rio760.